around the corner and said, well, but I love him because I told him one day, I said, I thank you for every time you beat me. I thought you hated my guts, but you really love me. That's what it says. Don't spare the rod. You spare the rod, you spoil the child. And a man that don't discipline his children, don't love them. That's pretty much what it said, in my words. But it was Christ's word to discipline those children. If I left here today, I would know that they're going to be all right. I would tell them about friends. I would say, the company that you keep is everything.
That's it.
Because whatever they're doing, you're going to be doing. You know, I used to tell Mom that, oh, no, not me, Mom, just because they do it don't mean I ain't. Guess what? I was a lean reader. I wasn't doing it because of them, I was doing it because of me. Talk better, know better. I guess, like I said before, there's nothing no stupider than a boy between the age of 15 and 25. Something wrong with their head. They think they know it. When they wake up, they turn 18, they wake up and say, hey, I know everything. I don't need Mom and Daddy, because I know it all right now. And sometimes, you know, parents, you just have to let them think that. And when they go on, I love this part. When they say, you know, he was exactly right.
Amen.
Those old men that older fellas, Mr. Hart, this man right here is a book of knowledge right here. I would tell every young man in this church, talk to this man. Talk to Mr. Leroy. Talk to Mr. Donald. There's people older than you, boys and girls. They know it because they've been there. They've already done that. And from their knowledge and wisdom, you can learn from their mistakes. You can learn from the things that they done right. You can learn. And I would say, you know, it's. I was talking to a fellow the other day. I said, you know, it's amazing. All the things that I was told by these older men when I was a young man, they're exactly right. It's just like they said. It come along. But you know what? They heard the same thing. And it happened just like they said. That's amazing. But it said, you know, David, he said, I go the way of all the earth. Will leave you. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. Be strong. Show thyself a man, boys. Today, it makes me sick to see a woman driving a car and the man sitting over here and pull up to a gas station and her get out and pump the gas. That infuriates me. Men, boys, we're supposed to take care of our women. That's two things. You want to get me riled up? A youngin' and a woman, somebody mess with them, you got problems with me. But men, we're supposed to cherish our women. That's supposed to, outside of God, here on this earth, that should be the most precious thing to you. Your wife. Stand up for her. And take care of her. Be strong, men. There's an absence of that today. I don't know, but if you look at it, the devil, if he can get control of the family and tear it apart, you have a godless nation. And there's nothing no more that he'd rather do than tear that family unit apart. Husband and wife, children, living at home, living for Christ. That's how it's supposed to be. But now you got mothers raising the children. You got husbands raising the children. And either way they're wondering where the other parent is. Don't they love me? Where's Daddy at? Where's Mama at? What did I do wrong? Little children think that stuff. It's meant to be a unit. But if the devil can get there and destroy the family unit, he can make us that nation I was talking about there, a godless nation. Because there's a lot of, and it's shameful. Let's rewind back here to, go to the 1920s. I guarantee you, every house in this community around here would have been empty this morning because Mama, Daddy, and those youngins were at church. 40s, same way, Mom and Daddy at church. The 60s, we had this mess up of the mind, let's call it that, where people just decided, hey, you know, this right here, I want it this way, I want it that way. They went against how God had taught us to live as a nation in the 60s. Now those people are running this country, and look at the shape that it's in.
Yeah.
The ones that burnt their grab cards and run off to Canada or whatever, that's who's running this country now. And, you know, we hear these people get up there and they'll say, they'll talk of God, they'll mention God, and that's great. But do they love God? That's my question. If they did, we wouldn't have things like we have today. The way things is all just misconstrued and jumbled up and fast-paced and do whatever you want to. People would feel like they did back then. In the 80s, it was a little bit less people at church. The 90s, a little bit less. Lord knows when it clicked January the 1st, 2000, people lost their minds, it seems like. Now nobody don't feel like church is important. And for the family to survive, for me to be that daddy that David's talking about, to be that good and strong man, I need Jesus.
Amen.
And these daddies don't think they need Jesus. They're wrong. They need him more than ever now to be able to raise a family that fears and loves Jesus Christ.
Amen.
They're not going to get it at school. Don't we love our children? That's the question. David did. He took time. He's dying. And he tells Solomon, look, this is how you need to live. This is how you want to raise a family. This is how you're going to lead a nation, is by loving God and keeping His commandments. It's that simple. I can close the Bible right there. It's that simple. But you know, it takes a spark to light a fire on it. You can preach this sermon in every church around here this morning. Sounds good. But to get people to act on it. Get people to act on it. That's something, I read it, man, he bought me this Bible and I read it. I'm going to read this morning. Let me find it back here. Here we go. One morning my kids and I were driving along the dirt road leading from our farm to the highway. Caught a glimpse of movement out the corner of my eye. At first I didn't think much of it. I typically see many as a dozen deer along the 2.5 miles of dirt road before reaching the highway. But this deer was different. It seemed to be hanging face down from a tree limb, thrashing like a brim on the end of a string. Suddenly my mind registered it. A doe was caught in the barbed wire fence. I pulled over and flagged down the truck behind me. Do you have any wire cutters? I asked. Sure don't, but I'll tell the farmer down the road about the deer and send him back. I explained to my kids that we needed to approach slowly and quietly to avoid scaring the deer. Then we began to sing. I'm not sure just why we did it, and the song seemed to fit the situation. As the deer pants for water, the little doe stopped her lunging and looked in our direction. Her soft brown eyes were drowning in fear. My heart hurt for the beautiful animal. I wanted to free her. But the closer I came, the more frantic she became. She just didn't understand that my intentions were good. After a few more steps, I was able to reach out and touch the doe. I began to stroke her head and neck and back. I wrapped one arm around the little deer. I spoke soothing words to her. At first, she began to settle down. Then panic once again took hold and threw her body into a spasm. She thrashed about so hard that she did even more damage to her body than had already been done. She just didn't understand that she couldn't save herself, that I was her way out of the dilemma. The farmer arrived with the wire cutters and snipped the strand of barbed wire that was holding the little doe prisoner. The little doe began to drag herself off with her front feet. Both hips were dislocated. Much internal damage had been done. I knew she wouldn't make it. Daddy, is she going to be okay? Asked the 7-year-old with tears in her eyes. She has a better chance now than she did while trapped in the fence, I replied, knowing how much of my skepticism I should share. That afternoon, I went and checked on the little doe. She was dead. I stood over her lifeless body and thought, oh, little one, if only you hadn't tried to save yourself. If only you had let me save you. I wonder how many times God will say those very same words to people. We can't save ourselves. We are human, and we will err and do many things wrong. But there is a God that loves you this morning. A God that wants to save you today. A God that wants to see men godly again and love Him and have a heart for Jesus today. Will you come?
Jesus, Jesus.
praying for them. Don't give up. Keep praying, because we serve a God that He can change hearts. He can do it, and you know, I just love Him today. But before we dismiss, anyone have a word they want to share? We'll dismiss.
Chris, I just want to tell you something that happened to us while we were gone. Just walking down the street in front of shops, you know me, I speak people and comment and all that. The guy come walking by with a really pretty cross t-shirt on, and I said, I love your cross. He said, well, thank you, just stepped over so people could keep passing. Scott and I were sitting there on the bench. And I said, wow, look at that tattoo. He had a crucifix. But he began to tell me these stories. Turns out he was a preacher at a Bible church. And he loved it because he was able to have all kind of opportunities to share. He said, I preach in a t-shirt. But he actually had a story from the beginning to the end, Gabriel blowing his trumpet all over his arms. And it was, I still get goosebumps. It was just, you just smile at somebody and make a comment. You never know what that interaction is going to lead to. You just never know. And that happened to us several times while we were gone.
Anybody else? If you love the Lord today, say amen.
Amen.
I got something here somewhere there with it. Got White's Bible. Got a lesson. Y'all, he got a walk that we all walk. He can gain a lot of knowledge from us. And we need to instruct him on ways to be a Christian man, right? I'm going to ask our Brother Floyd if you would dismiss.
Car checking for
Then we got that old truck.
don't got pressure. He says, get on. So, give it for the job.
No.
So we take that. So now the kitchen, the whole kitchen scene. We got all
So
the.
it's 10 minutes to 12.
Yeah, that would be fine. Like I said, we can leave here, go straight to chairs, and then go.
If you see that you're running late, it ain't yet, but it will be. Well, we be missing. You get there about 41, we miss the first set.